Have you ever struggled to convince someone to do something to bring yourself a positive result? Well, then you could be missing one key leadership element. And that's what I want to discuss with you in this video today. Hi guys, it's JT here, and I've got another fantastic video for you in the Effective Leadership Principles for the Younger Generation series. And in this video, I'm going to be focusing on influence. And if you're one of those people who have struggled in the past for trying to get somebody to do something for you, when you've been trying to convince them, you're trying to have discussions with them, and they're just not doing it, then influence is the key thing that you could be missing. But I want to quickly just go back to why you should listen to me on this video. If you've never seen any of my videos, then really my aim is to bring leadership principles to your life to have a positive impact in your life and to help you with your personal development. A lot of the principles I discuss are in my book, Managers Are Not Leaders, and influence is one of the key parts of that. I may have said this in some of my other videos. Leadership and influence go hand in hand, and influence is the currency of leadership. Without it, you're going to struggle. And in this video, I talk about the younger generation and why you should be learning influence and focusing on practicing it early. But I'm also going to touch on some aspects of the older generation and looking at dispelling a myth or two about how the older generation think when it comes to the younger generation. So if you're part of the older generation, and I don't mean age here, I'm talking about leadership journey. So whether you're slightly seasoned or when you talk about seasoned, I'm talking about 10, 15 years in the game, and now you're looking at educating and help grow the aspiring leaders of today. But before that, I'm going to focus on the younger generation. Right, so I've been part of that generation. As I record this video, I'm 28 years old, and I've been on both sides of the coin. So leadership is a journey, and I may have said that before. But what do I mean by that? But then, well, you start at the beginning, and constantly throughout your life, your working career, your business, whatever it is you want to do, leadership principles apply. Your way of thinking, your thought process will change over that journey. Your experiences will change over that journey, and you will learn new things every single year. And that's why leadership is a journey, because every time you experience something new, you will see something in a new light. And I've been on both sides of the coin, because when I started out on my leadership journey, I really didn't know anything. And I'm going to be honest, I made loads of mistakes. I've worked for great leaders, not so great leaders, terrible managers, really good managers. I've drawn on experiences. I've done my own research, my own academic studies, went and got a master's to learn more about leadership. And what that's led me to understand, especially for the leadership generation, is that influence is a key aspect. And without influence, you're really going to struggle. I remember when I was younger, I used to try to get people to do things for me. And by that, I mean, just go do this, tell them. I wouldn't really communicate properly with them as to why they're doing something. I wouldn't really work on how I could influence them. No, I would just expect that they would do it for me because, well, I held a position and I expected that they worked for me. That really is not how leadership works. That could be how management works. Well, actually, that is how management works. But leadership, that is not that. If you want to be a leader and you're an aspiring leader, then you need to focus on how you can influence somebody for a positive result. And it's not just positive for you. So you're not influencing them to manipulate them. No, you're influencing them to have a positive result for both of you. So with that, I want to share with you my influence equation. And it's what I discuss in the book. So if you haven't had a chance yet, you should get this. It's on Amazon. It's not that expensive. about £7 or £8 if in the UK, or $9 or $10 if you're in the US. But there's a lot of value in them. This equation is in there. Trust equals connection, which equals influence. And if you understand that equation, you will quickly be able to develop influence. And when you can develop influence quickly with somebody or a team or company, your boss, a supplier, just about who it is, if you can develop influence quickly through trust and connection, you are gonna see exponential growth on your leadership journey, and you're also going to see fantastic results together. Remember, leadership is a joint journey. You're drawing on the experience of everyone around you, and you're going along the journey with everybody around you. You're going on that journey together. And like I said, trust equals connection, which equals influence. And if you can get to that point where you have great trust and great connection with somebody, you're going to be able to influence them. That is a key aspect, and that is a takeaway from this first part of the video, is the fact that influence is really the aspect that you need to focus on. And if you struggle with that as somebody who's an aspiring leader, a younger generation leader, so you just started on your leadership journey, in particular if you're age-wise, you're on the younger side, focus on, if you forget everything else and you used to focus on one thing in leadership, focus on your ability to influence somebody. Because within that comes a whole host of leadership behaviours, which I do discuss in the book. But I'm not trying to plug the book in, I'm just saying that information is in there in more detail with really the tools for how to become a great leader. Now, before I move on to the older generation myth that I want to dispel, I just want to ask you, if you're enjoying this video, please leave me a comment below, hit the like button, hit subscribe, because it really lets me know that I'm sharing valuable information with you, because that's all I want to do. Like I said at the beginning, my aim is to bring leadership principles to your life and have a positive impact in your life. So if I'm doing that, please let me know. Leave a comment below. If you've got a question, leave a question in the comments below and I will respond to you. If you want me to do another video or tackle a dilemma that you have in the leadership world or your leadership journey, let me know, because I love showing people how leadership and leadership principles can apply to real life. It is not just business. It's not just CEOs and management. No, leadership applies to life. I've applied the leadership principles that I discuss in my book to my life, and I've seen exponential growth. I've seen changes in happiness and success. And that is what you can see as a result of leadership. Right, now I'm going to move on to the older generation. Like I said before, like older generation, I'm not talking about age here. I'm not talking about you have to be 50, 60, 70 years old to be part of the older generation. No. Now, I consider myself now somebody of the older generation of leaders because I'm slightly more seasoned. Whereas before I was developing myself and purely myself on my leadership journey, I'm now in a position where I develop others. I have teams working below me. I'm a leader on huge multi-million pound projects, £100 million projects that I'm helping develop other people, develop teams, bring teams together to see huge success and results, right? And that for me is considered not as a younger generation leader now, but as someone slightly more seasoned, because the knowledge, the actions, my behaviors are absorbed by other people. So I have to be more conscious of what I'm doing. And that's really what I want to discuss here, is often as and I've made this mistake too. I remember when I was making that transition from a younger generation leader, slightly more seasoned, where I'm teaching others now and helping others grow, I made a judgment about somebody and their behaviors. And well, actually, once they explained to me, they sat me down and said, actually, I didn't really like the way you made that judgment because it made me feel like this. The reason I'm doing this is because of this. And I'm not going to share the personal reasons behind that person's story, but that really hit home for me, and I was like, actually, I'm at that next stage of my leadership journey now. People are influenced by my decision making, my behaviours, my words, my communication, my actions. So I need to be more conscious. But also, I need to be more conscious that the aspiring leaders may not have the ability to influence others. Something I've noticed in more experienced and older generation leaders is that they expect way too much from younger leaders way too soon. And they expect them to be able to do everything. I was in that boat, and I pushed myself to take on more challenges, take on more roles. And really, yes, I learned a lot, but I made a lot of mistakes. And what I've learned throughout that point is that we cannot expect too much of somebody else. We need to expect less, judge less, and help guide more. That is what is really important, and that's the key message I want you to take away. What I learned from that transition, that story I told you, is that if I expected somebody to do something a certain way, and then I judged them when they didn't do it that way, if they made a mistake, that's my fault. That's on me as a leader, because I didn't coach them or guide them or give them the right communication. So if you're an older generation leader, the key thing to take away here is that expect less, judge less, and guide more. Those three things: expect less, judge less, and guide more. Right, so quick recap. So I've covered two aspects here of influence. So if you're a younger generation leader, you're aspiring leader, you're just getting into the game, I'm not talking about age. Age isn't a factor in leadership. You could be 18 and just starting out a leadership career or your business. You could be 40 years old and transitioning to a leadership role or setting up your own business, right? So leadership journey starts at any stage of your career, business, or even in your life. Like I said, okay, younger generation, the key message to take away is that start practicing on how to influence others for a positive result sooner. And if you're the older generation, get rid of that myth that the younger generation can just do everything, or they're lazy, or they're entitled. Expect less, judge less, and guide more. Remember those three things, and you will help them see exponential growth. And if you're an older generation leader, if you help raise somebody up, they're going to help push you up. Maybe that's a gem for this video. This is an absolute gem, and it's something that people don't realize. I should have told you this at the beginning. I didn't. This is the reward for staying to the end of the video. Something that I've learned is that people often try to stunt other people's growth because they think they're going to overtake them and take their position. As leaders, you need to be able to be open enough to help see other people develop and grow. Because what happens is, say you're here in your leadership journey, or it could be career, position, business, wherever it is, you're here, and there's someone coming in there. If you help guide them and coach them, and they start to knock on your door, what happens, and this is generally what happens, is they start to push you up, because that person is now filling your role. And if you're doing the same thing with the person above and you're knocking on that door, you will automatically start to raise each other up. And that is a key gem. That's an absolute gem to understand as a general principle. Help others and they will help you. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know. It's the only way I get feedback from you so that you enjoyed this video and this series, the effective leadership principles for the younger generation. Hit the subscribe button because there's so much more videos on there, so much more content, and there's more to come. The more subscribers, more comments I get, then it really means I can continue to do this and continue to share leadership principles to you to have a positive impact in your life. Thank you very much for listening. This is JT signing out.